Okay, so if you could introduce yourselves, including where you're from, and then briefly describe your area of research and what's led you there.
Awesome. Well, I'm Micki Voelkel, and I teach at the University of Arkansas in Fort Smith, which is in the United States.
Okay, and your research interest?
Oh, my research interest is in informal learnings, particularly in the context of museums. And lately, the gender justice aspect of that, looking at whose voices are represented and whose voices are not represented.
And I am Shelli Henehan. I also teach at the University of Arkansas in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And my research interests were initially early childhood curriculum. I developed early childhood curriculum because that's what I did in an earlier life. I taught kids. And then once I joined in with Micki, we started looking at training our teacher candidates and really being more sensitive to the gender issues, and it's really struck a chord. Yeah, so it's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you. So are there any challenges that you find that you faced? Actually, I know that you just mentioned one, so maybe you could talk to us about it here. Challenges that you faced conducting and disseminating your research.
Absolutely. We live in an area of the country that is very rich in local history, and so we have focused very much on our own community in terms of research. So our two major research projects so far have focused on the visitor centers in our community, which is a formal brothel, and sort of all of the difficulties inherent in that whole concept, plus the difficulties in the way it is portraying itself as a tourist attraction, but visitors seem to see it as a museum, and so there's a lot of conflict with that. We've done a lot of research in that area.
The narrative they tell is really interesting.
And not accurate.
No.
And yet, as community members who go out to service clubs and who are members of that community, it can be very awkward being critical of a part of the community when the university depends on the community support, so it's very, it's awkward, and that's something that we deal with all the time.
No, I just ditto all of that. So.
Yeah. So what are your plans for sharing your research beyond this conference, if you have any?
Well, we actually, we commit to presenting at an adult education conference every fall. So we do that, and then we also we've been asked in our community to present numerous times.
And so one of the things we're going to do to be a little bit more public is we are working on, from our latest project, which is working with the National Historic Site at Fort Smith, we are going to come up with an online exhibition that sort of offers alternate voices to what they have on display. And so we have a software that our library has a license for. We're going to work with our librarian to link with it, and we think we have a good enough relationship with that site that we may be able to get them to link to it.
Well,
so that we can. Omika is the name of the software.
And another interesting piece about our university is that we're part of a committee that has formed just in the past year called the GIF Committee, and that's Gender and Intersectional Feminism. And it's all just
every college on campus is represented. Yes. So it's actually a beautiful outreach from our research to sort of naturally fit us into that.
Yeah, so we're actually holding a conference in March on ameliorating domestic violence and really focusing on women's issues. And so we've got a lot of stuff going on right now. Yeah, and we write together.
So we've got several writing projects that we're working on.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing the online exhibit. That sounds awesome.
Well, you can look at it now. What
we have the blog. The blog, the blog just has just the raw data out there right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to put the theme data out there, and then hopefully we're going to transfer it to the other software so it'll look like an actual exhibit.
Awesome. All right. Thank you
Super.
so much.
Thanks.